when we meet a production line, it's typical an environment. You can imagine a bunch of benches where manual assembly work or quality assurance steps or some machine outputs are all being handled to carry out a process that turns a final product. All products have certain set of processes they have to go through, as they kind of transform from the parts, raw materials into like a full, shipped product. So when we meet this environment, we have the first step is to understand that process and what people are actually doing, and then help them instrument it and automate it as much as it makes sense. So to do that, we have IoT gateways. IoT stands for Internet of Things. It's a general term. What we mean when we use IoT, it's simply like an edge device that allows you to very quickly plug and easily plug and play sensors and devices and smart tools. This could be a torque gun that would tell you what's the torque of the gun, or this could be like a barcode that allows you to scan a certain identifier. This could be a smart thermal camera that watches for some key parameters on the process. All those different sensors usually require an integrator or somebody to program them in order for them to work. What the Tulip manufacturing operating system allows you to do is just connect them to this edge device, and then on a cloud-based interface program their behavior. And this behavior manifests in what we call a shop floor app that basically allows you to very quickly decide the steps in which an operator would go through a process. So that's typically called interactive work instructions. And with the input from the sensor will be collected per the various steps, and this provides tremendous insight into what you told people to do, what they actually did, what their tools and sensors and machines that they have used to follow through the operation. What data those various devices actually collected, and then how all of that sort of gets integrated to the analytic part of our system, where you can just basically have access to real-time information about what's going on the floor, which is a very hard thing to do, especially because you don't put sensors on people normally, So if you think about it today, is like you get very sparse data on the process typically, and especially in discrete manufacturing that are human intensive by nature, because in discrete manufacturing that simply means you follow a certain step, as opposed to process manufacturing where you have a food processing factory where 60 tons of potato come in on one side and potato chips come on the other side. Those are basically very sophisticated machines and buildings that are highly automated. And what we do in discrete manufacturing, where you build an engine, or you are a scientist in a lab checking a drug, or if you're assembler in an electronics factory, or a stitcher in sports apparel. All those things are tasks. They have associated tasks that people actually carry out in those various industries. So things don't come from the magic machine who does X, that does X. You know what I mean? So for those people, we basically, our operating system is should be the way that they interact with their organization, how it helps them do their work, provides them the information to make decisions on their work. When you think about it, it's kind of crazy that you basically, there's roughly, I think 12 million people in the United States working in manufacturing. Many of them are on the actual lines, and they go into work, and you basically tell them, well, you know what, put your computers away. Forget that they exist, and just do this thing, like assemble these pieces this way, or fill in this form so we can collect the information about that thing. And that's pretty crazy in 2016. I mean, that is a thing we need to fix. And much like we fixed the way banking works and nobody questions that, or how we shop online, and unless you believe there's like an iron dome on this part of what humanity does, then internet is coming in there and will change completely how things are done, and we want to be in the forefront of that. So.